Okay, guys, welcome to Bite Me, Season 1, Episode 36, The Truth About Recovering Mom Struggle with One Does Want a Hit a Color, aka Leah. You're okay with me calling you Leah, or do you want a
Yes,
different?
absolutely.
Okay.
Leah's great.
All right, so you know who isn't given a lot of credit is moms. You know who can't catch a break? Moms. You know who puts up with all the shit with zero possibility of any real reward in the end? Moms. And you know who's the meanest to us? Moms. What is this life? The dads get a free pass while we work our butts off twice as hard for half the credit. Add to that the fact that most of us have faced systemic trauma leading to things like addiction, depression, anxiety, and even suicide. This is not a war that one can win. That's why I've enlisted some help today for this episode in a friend and follower. One does want a hint of color, aka Leah. In today's harsh climate for mothers and women in recovery in general, it's easy to judge not only each other but also ourselves. Today, Leah is here to tell us about how to navigate the difficult journey that is self-love, acceptance, and overall just saying fuck it in the best possible way to the world. Leah, would you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yes, absolutely. Thank you, first of all, for having me here. It means a lot to me. My name is Leah, and I am a mother to two sons. I, like you, own my own business as a hairstylist. Let's see. I'm a Southern girl, for sure. North Carolina, born and raised.
And awesome hair. Always
an
awesome hair.
I like to, one does want a hint of color. That has several references. One is to hair, but it's from the movie The Birdcage.
Okay.
Oh yeah,
I hadn't put that together before. I do love that movie.
Well, and I used to work with a ton of men and a ton of gay men I love, and the hairstylist industry, you meet all kinds of people. Yeah. And I found my people in that, and color makes everything better. Color makes life better.
There's not to get all basic bitch about it, but there's a documentary on Netflix right now about color.
Yes.
I forget what it's called. And it's just got all the animals and all their different colors and how they identify each other with color. And it's fascinaling, really. I was watching.
It's a peacock show. It's a peacock show.
Yeah. Gotta show off those peacock feathers. So, well, very cool. And then you're also on TikTok, and you talk about the things that we're going to talk about today: self-love, recovery, being comfortable in your own skin, things like that. So people can follow you there. So, Leah and I are both I don't know if there's the recovered. I like to say recovered addict because I don't think there's so many different forms of recovery, and everybody finds addiction and recovery and addiction their own way. But we're talking a little bit about that today, what it is to be a mom in that type of situation, and what it is to love yourself afterwards and really doing the hard work. So we've got some interview questions today for Leah. So straight out the gates. You and I have briefly spoken candidly about your recovery journey and what that's been like for you being a modern mother. Can you tell us a little bit about that, and take as much time, tell as much story as you'd like?
Oh, I have a lot. I thank you for asking that. I haven't thought about my addiction recovery as far as drugs go in several years. And most recently in my life, it's been the recovery from alcohol. Because that has affected me greatly time and time and time again. And honestly, when I would pick up alcohol, I would make poor choices, or I would pick up that drug again. You pick up that phone, you become angry, those types of things. So I have
texting.
Well, for me, it wasn't, I was on foot. I'd go places.
Oh, okay.
Right. She's an action creature. Yeah. So we're going. Yeah.
That's commitment.
Yeah. It's unass. I would unass. That's what we do. So I wasn't a predictable person when using alcohol because I blacked out. And most people don't know that you're blacked out. So you continue to function. You do shit. You cook. You're functioning.
You were a functioning alcoholic.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And I've hated that word for a very long time because I was raised by alcoholics, or both of my parents are alcoholics, I should say. Okay. And so you don't want to be that thing. You don't want to be that thing. But by 19, it was already very aware to me and those around me that I wasn't like them when it came to alcohol. But by 23, what's your drug of choice is what they say in meetings and therapy and things like that. And my response would be like, what do you got? Like
anything you can get your little sandwich grabbers on, I'm here for it.
what do you have? That would be okay with me. So luckily I was able to escape that. But the alcohol was harder to let go. Yeah, it's more accessible, and the mom wine culture is insane to me. It's insane to me, and it's highly promoted, and they made it look very casual and acceptable everywhere, even on
Target.
the soccer field.
Rosé all day. I hate. Oh my god! Every time I see one of those, I just want to puke and punch someone in the face simultaneously.
Oh, live, laugh, love, girl.
Yeah. We are not those women.
No, it is not one of those situations for me at all. Yeah.
As teenagers, there would have been the children the girls who shopped at like Aeropostale, and we were the kids who shopped at Hot Topic. That's us. So
we discussed my age earlier, and so Hot Topic didn't exist when I was doing that shit. I had to make it. So I was actually buying dog collars, and I was making the studs. Leah, like there was no Hot Topic. There was none of that shit. And I can't call myself a punk because I know real punks, and I was not nearly as committed. But all of this vibe, I had to make my shit.
That's impressive.
Totally.
I'm not even mad. I'm impressed. Well, I was a Nebraska punk, so for me it was going to Hot Topic, getting the Manic Panic and some flames on your shit, and I was really cool in my town of 3,000 people. But
I bet you were.
I was.
What was that? The superlative I got most original in high school. But nice. I was sitting next to a guy, and we're collared, and we're Doc Martens, and we're all this shit. But his mohawk was like crazy tall.
Ceiling.
Yeah, but
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I don't know how they do it. Like, are you using glue? How do you sleep at night?
I know how they do it. Hairstylists. But we also had the movie industry here in my town a long time. And so the hair, the beauty industry, the music industry, it was a big filming community.
Your era is SLC Punk, which I think is that was filmed in Utah, I believe, that movie. But maybe it had that one guy, I forget his damn name. He's fucking old now. Anyways, people at home know what we're talking about. Like the trench coats, the spiky hair, and then you had a collar and Doc Martens and probably some eyeliner. That was it. The scene, man.
Yeah, depending on when and after my head was shaved, because I wouldn't wear makeup. I would not wear any feminine clothing whatsoever. Wow. None. Nice. No.
You were much more committed than I. So, but circling back to the addiction, because we've gotten a little off the beaten path here on fun 80s and 90s topics. More so 90s, I think. But it sounds like what you're saying is you are the child of, they call them
adult children of alcoholics.
Yeah, ACOEs. Is that what I'm with? Or ACOAs. Some damn name. And you're an adult child of an alcoholic or alcoholics. And so you kind of, I don't want to say brought that with you into your adulthood. Maybe it was inherited, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was based on trauma, but you are having to navigate that in a way that is different than what you saw growing up, because you are going to stores and you are blacked out. And so it looked different to you than it did growing up. So you maybe weren't putting the two together.
Well, the crazy thing is my dad, his behavior was so outrageous and so violent and so unpredictable. And the way he treated my mother was just not anything any children should see ever. Don't wake the kids. Okay, let's wake the kids kind of situation, right? Let's let them watch this shit. But with my mother, he was gone. Luckily I was 6, I think. But I never saw my mother take a drink. Not once in my life. Not once. But I remember when sobriety became the most important. 7 a.m. meetings became most important, because then I started having to get up my siblings for school. Wow. So, but you have to put your recovery first. They say it's a selfish thing. Well, it is a selfish thing.
It
has to be, or you're going to lose it. They say whatever you put in front of your recovery, you're going to lose. Anyway, be it a person or whatever. And then they focus on a lot of things. And there's a lot of bits and pieces I take from the structured places. I was in Alatot. That was a thing. Alateen, Alanon, but they had it for children called Alatot.
Wow. What?
Yeah. So that's where the children would go. Yeah. While the
I'm
parents were in the meetings.
speechless.
Yes. Yes. While the parents were in the meetings, the children would go to Alatot. I was too young to be an Alateen. They have their own literature and everything. No kidding. No kidding.
Would you say it's, because in my mind, I want to go like cringe at that because it's like, not, I just don't know what to think of it simply because I've not been exposed to that type of situation. I've been to Al-Anon meetings, but not what you went through as a child. We've both gone through childhood trauma, but your trauma as a child is different than mine. So I'm not able to relate to the Alatot thing. So you're going to have to walk me through that. Would you say it's beneficial?
Well, I feel like what was happening was because we were very young and I had my younger sibling there. We were only 22 months apart. So that was very close in age. So I just remember having other children to play with. What I do remember being beneficial is shelters for women. It was called the Yahweh Center and places like that they would feed us, you know, because once she made the decision to leave or got the, oh man,
you had nothing.
Right. And so she would go to places where, you know, those people protected women. They protected these women in these domestic violence shelters. They would feed us, they would clothe us, they would take us in if we needed a night. And so that is what I remember being beneficial. God knows what Alatot was. No clue. Okay. But I definitely remember my older sister was much older and there was literature. There were books, just like in AA, there's, you know, approved literature. Yeah. So that sounds a little, the more I think about it.
No, that's okay. This is actually, I appreciate
approved literature.
The newfound education that I've,
Okay. So in NA, we've got Just Live for Today. I mean, there's so much. So you've got these daily devotionals that help you navigate through. So NA and AA are two very different things. It's a similar principle, but your language is different. And the types of people I met at NA, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
You go in with the alcoholics and you know what to expect, but NA people have... you know, you can repeat an alcoholic story twice, but NA is like, and there was a flying dinosaur for some reason. And then this got involved. There was like other dimensions, like,
Honey, I've been there. I've seen people rubbing their patch.
Yeah.
Oh, you know, and it's a very strange place. So sometimes even going to those places to find healing or to associate with other people, I didn't want to watch that.
Yeah.
Why you got that? I don't, you know, so I have to say that in my years of recovery, time and breaks and time again, I haven't gone to AA in years and I do this on my own. This is a solitary thing. And I just dropped it just like that.
Mine was a solitary thing as well. I think it really does come back to no one can make the decision for themselves but themselves. And when you're ready, you're just ready. But on that note, what was your lowest point that catapulted you into the amazing woman that you are today? And how did you go from where you were to where you are now?
Okay. It is a lot of work, like we talked about, and it's not work that maybe anybody can see. And that's okay, because I don't have to prove that to anybody. It's not going to be on a certificate. You know what I mean? This is what they say. And this is an inside job. This is a totally inside job. And for me, I was not able to heal, look at myself honestly, stop making excuses, be willing to do the hard work or any of that if I were to drink alcohol. It just wasn't going to happen. So I could talk myself into thinking that were true or rationalize the reasons to pick up, because I had been sober for 7 years after I picked up a drink after I had my second baby. It was just too much. It was just too fucking much. It was too fucking much. Marriage was too much. Children were too much, even though we planned that one. I mean,
you get overwhelmed.
You get overwhelmed. Well, the having of children to me was a loss of identity, man, because that
I get it.
That was really hard. And I had postpartum.
Me too.
He wasn't well. Okay. So I was determined to do everything different the second time. This one's going to be perfect. Yeah, right. I was pre-eclamptic with my first one. He went home on an apnea monitor and was plugged into the wall for the first 3 months of his life.
Oh my goodness.
So, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yes, ma'am. And that's my older child who later, by the time he was 3.5, I was like, oh, um, okay. So these things are too difficult. Normal milestones weren't happening. Brushing
Right.
teeth, combing hair, clipping fingernails. I'm a hairstylist. That boy didn't have a haircut. He was in diapers till 5, so that was a huge struggle. And those things became apparent to me while I was pregnant with second baby. So after second baby was out, I picked up again. And that's how I dealt with my marriage and my life and my children and my job and my work and it all being my responsibility.
Some coping. It was a coping mechanism.
I didn't know how to cope. And I didn't know how to, the issues I saw within my child weren't seen by my partner at the time. We don't want those things to be true. We don't want our sons to have problems.
He's willingly oblivious, probably, is what you're saying. I think.
Why don't you listen? He can't listen. He can't. So, but I was the one at the audiologist's appointment, in the little booth like you're in right now. I was in there with my baby and I couldn't speak. I couldn't help him. I had to watch him fail this exam. So it would appear as though he couldn't hear. He had to go to ophthalmologist because it would appear as though he couldn't see. I mean, his senses were all,
they're wonky. They're just kind of
wackadoodle. I call it Mr. Fast Brain.
Okay.
Mr. Fast Brain. Yeah, because he still doesn't sit down to eat food. He has allowances and accommodations to stand up at school. It's different every day. But those things, I could never drink while he was awake, though. Yeah. Because what if I had to drive to the hospital?
Yeah. I get it. When we're doing our shit, it's at night after the kids have gone to bed.
Yes.
And that's where shit gets crazy.
For sure. So we got a little bit of self-revenge. We're going to stay up late and hate ourselves. We got a little bit of, this is my only time alone and I'm going to fucking watch what I want to watch and drink my drinks.
It's true. It's so true.
It's exactly true. I watched RuPaul drunker than shit for
I'm going to get on the internet. I'm going to go on Facebook.
Oh my God.
I am dying right now. It's so relatable what you're saying.
It brought me what I thought was joy.
If you were doing it and I was doing it, think of all the moms, bitches at home.
Yes.
We see you.
We are you. We are you.
God.
Give me something. Yeah.
It's so real.
It's extremely real. And I didn't care that I wasn't sitting in the room with my partner, even though the drinking helped me stay married.
Yeah.
It helped me with the intimacy aspects. It helped me with the parts that didn't work at all. It helped me with everything, even if I struggled at work. Even if I felt,
not have to examine the real issues that were right in front of you, but maybe didn't want to see. Yeah.
I didn't want to. It's not giving up because no one gets married to get divorced. Of course they don't. What the fuck? Yeah. But it's can I work harder on this or can I forgive him more? Yeah. Can I forgive him more? Shouldn't I be more understanding? And it's this whole cycle of I'm frustrated with you. No, I forgive you. Or I should just let you be okay being okay. And I would go around and around and around.
Sort of like the subconscious embed in the back of our minds.
It's my job.
Yeah.
It's my job. It's my job.
So
but it isn't.
Would you say, you're a mom, you're a hairstylist. We're talking about how you use the alcohol to cope with your marriage and how it sounds like your partner wasn't as attentive as he should have been in any area or aspect of you and the kids' lives at that time period.
No.
How would you compare the world of working parents and parents in general for men compared to what it is of women? What's your experience versus what his was?
You're going to love this.
I will. I know I will. I love everything that comes out of your mouth.
Oh, thank you. I actually didn't even write anything down for this one because I was like, you know what? I know this one. So
freestyle.
I know it. My first pregnancy was so very traumatic. It really was. And I could not go back to work. Luckily I had saved because I am a squirrel when it comes to money. And that's another fear, your relationship with money. And it helps me in some ways, but some ways, bitch, you got to let it go. Okay. You deserve a pair of Nikes. Okay,
some
friend.
Balance.
Yeah. Buy yourself something. Yeah. Anyway, I stayed at home for several months with the baby, and I had to, but I also knew that I wasn't going to go back to my other job. I was a sign designer and fabricator, actually. Yeah.
That's what do you know? That's what Easy does. I mean, that's crazy. My partner, he owns his own handyman business, but by day, you know, because we both have multiple jobs. Yes. Easy is a sign fabricator.
He's
that's
sign
his
man.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's his thing.
I'm a mathematics person. I understood pole signs. Jesus. I mean, they're 40 feet in the air. They're 40 feet wide. Like, you have to understand perspective, measurement work. It's very hard. Yeah, it's a specific job.
Oh, it's a thing. It's a science. It's you got to do it right the first time, or you're going to make more work for yourself.
Especially as an apprentice, I had to do it right because I was working for a Vietnam vet, which is where I learned most of American history, although cited, and he was not well.
Yeah.
Right. But I learned a lot from this gentleman. I really did. Even though vets deserved mental health then too. When they came home. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
I had to find a job that I could be a mother.
Yeah.
And that's when I went to cosmetology school, was when I became a mother.
Men don't have to do that shit. They don't have to choose.
No.
You gotta choose.
I had to choose. And I didn't finish my mathematics degree. So I was lucky enough to go to Western Carolina University. And I was the first person in my family to go to a university. And I studied mathematics and physics, and I was 3 semesters short when I took a mental withdrawal because of addiction. It was because of addiction. Yeah.
Which one was it that time, though?
Which one? What? Treatment facility or drug?
Like, drug.
All of them. But in the mountains at that time, like most rural areas, this was a very rural area. Even though it was a college, no.
Oxy was a big thing from I think it was 2010 to 2015.
All right, but I'm talking like 1998 to 2002. Okay. Love it. Yeah, that's so cool. Actually 9/11 had a lot to do with the beginning of my downfall again. I was sober at the time. Okay. And I didn't know I was an empath to the level that I was, or that watching death like that triggered such a response in me because of the death that I had gone through with my sister. And it happened to me again in Katrina. Watching that shit did something to me. It experiencing it. We didn't just watch it. We experienced it as a nation. We went through levels, remember, color coded levels of fear as we should respond that day. Right. Yeah. So I had been sober, but when I went back to my circles for weed, there were plates out. And so,
that's well, that's good. I was gonna say that's nice.
That's the evolution. Yeah.
The addict in me wants to go, ooh, but the sober person in me wants to go, oh.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Right. So when I had gone back to drinking and those types of things, people were starting to use again. And then the country people, those rural ass people, they were making shit in their houses. And then, I would just do whatever it took, but I would go to class the next day, having not slept, and solve problems on the board in Calc 3. Like when I went to detox, I watched A Beautiful Mind, and I could still understand the mathematics he was writing at the time. Yeah. Because of the physics and mathematics. So it's amazing what we can pull off as addicts and alcoholics. We can still show up. We can still I would have never guessed. Well, that's awesome because it's a hard fucking way to live your life. It's survival mode.
Sacrificed, you sound like a very intelligent woman, and
thank you.
You sacrificed, your capability to get a degree in that effort, or the partial degree that you have in order to be a mom and have a job where you could support your children to provide. And then you have this partner who seemingly, and I haven't met this man, people at home can know I haven't met this man, I don't know anything about him. For all I know, he could be, a wonderful person. I don't know. But
he's pretty kind. He's kind.
Well, that's, let's give credit where credit's due. So it sounds like, from your story, it seems like he is not expected to do as much or contribute as much as you are, not only from a societal view, but also
Mhm.
like in your mind, you're having that thought process as well. Like, I need to give, while
Mhm.
he's just not really expected anything more than the bare minimum.
Right. And I think that and every woman is different, but I have this innate, clean this up, do this, do this. And I think when partners, primarily men, ask us to, oh, just tell me what to do, I'll do it. You're asking me to delegate to you as I would a child. That's what you're
Yeah.
asking me to do. So while you're, hey, I'll do whatever you need while I'm sitting here watching television, bitch, you know what to do.
Take initiative.
Right. But I think that there's a lot of men, and maybe it isn't their fault, I don't know. But in my scenario, men are given passes to learn how to do things in life. And their mothers will do it. Their mothers will do it. And in his case, he didn't have a father. So he had some gaps there. You know,
Yeah.
he'd YouTube if he had to. But for the most part, I also didn't ask for help. Why ask you for
Right.
fucking help if I can do it myself? Because it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask for help, right?
That's
So,
a hard thing as a codependent person and an empath and a person who's gone through trauma and person with abandonment issues. We don't ask for shit, not even self-respect.
No,
we don't ask for none of
no, or not confidence, or not even the proper love in return, or respect, or gratitude, or
it's a totally foreign concept.
It is, and we'll just make up for it with our own selves in some other way, or we
like
don't.
Drinking, like that's what drives you.
Right, but there's so many other things there's substitutions for that, of course. So we've got eating, we've got shopping, you've got sex, you've got gambling. There's a million different ways we can choose to harm ourselves, and it doesn't have to be physical. Most of what we do to ourselves, it's all in our heads anyway, which is the confidence part that you acknowledged. And I'm like, oh, I guess I do. But it's a nonstop working practice. I talk about gratitude a lot because gratitude can shift everything. And when you're standing outside of a detox facility holding a cigarette and flavored coffee creamer, because that's all you got. Okay?
Yeah.
And they say, ma'am, you can't take the coffee creamer. You're like, well, fuck you, then I ain't coming anyway. No, okay. So, but there's times when, if that's the only thing on your gratitude list, but good for me that I had that, there's been times where I had absolutely nothing and I had to ride the city bus. That's a humbling experience for me. For some people, that's how they have to get around the fucking town anyway. Right. So it's just a level of respect. And I rode that bus longer than I had to because I realized that. Right. That's how some people have to get to work. That's how some people have to live their lives. So ride it and just meet people. It's kind of fun.
Ride it and just meet people. That's it sounds like a great to lead out on our break here real quick. We'll be right back with Bite Me. All right, guys, welcome back to Bite Me. We're here with Leah, aka One Does Want a Hint of Color on TikTok. We're talking about addiction recovery, the struggle of being a single mom, hazards in a marriage with the modern men, things like that.
The modern man.
Yes, we are the modern men. That's correct. So
you are. Cher said it best. Mom, I am a rich man.
Yeah. Or a poor man. Either way, we're a man. We're the man. We're getting shit done.
I think how we define rich is different, right?
Yeah,
abundant.
It's true.
Yeah,
it's true. We define it a little different than the capitalist mindset.
Because we're not men.
Yeah, it's true. We're not ran on money and fucking whatever it is, men, God, country, and guns, whatever the hell it is they think about all the damn time.
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I'm unsure.
They think about everything and nothing.
How complex of that. What a hard day.
It's like the woman talked back to me today. I don't know how to move on with my life.
Listen, I'm all thought out. I had to think all day.
I gotta take a break. A woman asked me a question today. I had to change a diaper today. I gotta take a break. But no. So back to circling back to the addiction recovery, do you still struggle some days? And how do you find grace for yourself in that? And what advice would you give other women out there, other moms who are in recovery, trauma, addiction, and things like that?
I would say that I no longer struggle with addiction to drugs. I have released alcohol, and so I don't want to drink today. I can't act like there's moments where I'm like, God, I would love a drink tonight. But I also know that that's never a wise choice. That is
Yeah.
never a wise choice. And when we were talking earlier, I told you I'm much more powerful this way. And I mean that. I
Yeah.
mean that because probably because I blacked out. I couldn't be sure of what I said. Or do I owe you an apology? What did I say? What did I, I know what I said. I know what I did. I'm in control of this body. So I don't have those urges or desires to drink every day. I think my struggles are with coping with everyday shit, with not listening to the negative voices that are in my own head. I told you I personify it so I can call it a liar because I don't know where that came from. And we've had similar experiences in being told negative things about ourselves as children. So whether we do it ourselves or it's old stories replayed, I have to work on that every day. I work on confidence every day, and I work on anxiety every day.
It's a process every day.
God, it is. I think because what happens is we continue to live. And so when you continue to live, you come in contact with more people, more situations, more places. But the more I practice it, the more I'm aware of, this situation isn't right for me. Or someone asked me to do them a favor and it was a text and I read it. And as soon as I read it, I said, you have to say no to this. And I did. I responded to her. Well, I said, and I love her. I said, I love you, but this request has my conscience torn slam up is how I responded. And she, ha, 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 ha. But I did that. And that was hard to do, but it's really not, because if this doesn't make me feel good, then I'm not going to do it. And that boils down, back to very simple, basic. Is this a good choice for me? Or is this not a good choice for me? Do I want to minimize my regret in life? Or do I want to have a mess to clean up later? Because I'm still cleaning up messes.
Like we as recovering, whatever the term, I don't know. I hate labels.
I don't either. I do too. I hate
we as recovering. Yeah, we as recovering, if you could call it recovering addicts, it's weird that we have to compartmentalize it in our brain like that. Like, okay, this is me making a choice. And, whereas other people just so easily, I'm so jealous of those people.
It comes to them.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that were attractive about my partner, other than his being kind. He was kind. Yeah. He was a rather passive person and not an aggressive man, but he also never struggled with drugs and alcohol.
Yeah.
And that seemed like the best, safest, the life that I had led and the people that I knew. I had never met anybody. He was 35. Yeah. He was a grown ass dude. But that was something different for me. And so you want something different, you have to try a different result. And I was sober when we met. And I feel like that was one of the attractive qualities, is that I didn't have to worry about that, because I dated men and we were clean, but were we? When I saw you driving a lawnmower down the road, and there's not a stoplight this is in the sticks. This was years ago. It's weird how we can excuse things in our minds. Like, I have a TikTok coming up about it, actually, about how for me and my daughter's father, when we were addicts together in our 20s, and I graduated from it and he did not. He stayed there. Okay. All right. Not ready.
We would justify it every weekend. Like, oh, we're not addicts. We just do it on the weekends. We're sober.
It's rationalization. It came up over and over when I was writing to talk to you today. And it was about the reasons I chose to pick up again in the first place, because I rationalized it. After all those years of sobriety I had, I even made ground rules with spouse. I'll only do it at home. I'll only do this. And, because he had known me sober, he knew why I was sober. He was very aware, but I made rules, which eventually got broken, because of course they did. Because I can't follow them. So that's manipulation. When you apologize for the same shit and then do it over and over again, I guess you don't mean the apology. No. So I finally just, you quit. And then I said, your turn.
Yeah.
And there was no turn to be taken.
Right. So, yeah. But that's and that's where the boys and the boys divided by the men, that's where you really come push to shove and decide, okay, there's something different here and we need to try a different path. This isn't working anymore.
Right.
And it sounds like you met that fork in the road and decisions were made, and hopefully everybody's a better person for it. I mean,
that's the purpose.
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose. We spent Easter together because the thing is I want to like you, but I'm currently not.
Yeah.
And
you got to get there.
That's right. And there's better conversations. There's, I mean, it's not the best thing in the world, but it kind of is for me right now, because this is what benefits me. And I think about myself, I think about my children, and I think about my business. And those are the things I need to think about. Of course, you have to put your business up there, or you can't have the other things kind of situation. But that's where the balance comes in.
Well, those are things that you're serving, but they are also serving you. Oh,
yeah.
Somebody
I might have a guest.
No problem. We're gonna cut it real quick, and you can go.
Okay.
Take care of that.
Okay.
So that was actually very fitting that Leah's husband would come pick them up, because her children, because we were talking about, his role and what it is or isn't. And then we were talking about the roles of modern dynamics and modern families and what it looks like to find that divide and what works for everybody and getting there as co-parents. So that was them being co-parents in that moment. And I'm sure some people at home can relate to that. So that's the journey out. But yeah. So this is the last question and an unrelated question, and I cannot wait to hear it. Hands down, worst or most funny. What's the hairdresser story that sticks out in your mind?
Oh my gosh.
To me, I think about it and I'm like, it's got to be lice. It's got to be.
I have had a lice scenario, but I'm cool, calm, and collected because I grew up with lice.
Okay.
We talked a little bit how I played in the dirt. I was a poor kid. Yeah. And so, no, I lived with lice while having chickenpox, actually. And that's a fun story. But actually, it was one of the first videos I had that went viral. The hardest part of my job happened after we came back to work from COVID.
Okay.
Because of masks. Seriously. Yeah. And I touch people for a living. And, it was a situation where an adult did not want his child to wear the mask and freaked the absolute fuck out on me over it. But I was a professional, and we call it the cutting floor for a reason, because it's work and it's acting and you have to maintain professionalism. So that was one of the most shocking. But I mean, I've had experiences with women where I've had to, like, we talk face to face first, and then you get my trust right, and then I feel safe to go behind the mirror, because that's a different perception of how we speak to one another, right? But when you get told as a hairstylist, no one's ever cut my hair right, what you're saying to me is
you've gone through some hairdressers.
Well, here's the thing: I'm not going to cut your hair right either. So you've just set me up to fail. Yeah. So I've done this before. And I had a client, and she was increasingly difficult. And I did her hair for 1.5 years. I did her hair for so long. My therapist was like, why do you need the award for who can stand her the longest? Because she had been through town and people knew who she was, because she was blacklisted from salons.
Oh my God.
That's right. But during the consultation, I did the face-to-face. I went behind the chair, and she insulted me. And I stopped, and I walked back to the front of her, and I said, I don't want to touch you, and I don't want your fucking money. Please leave.
Good for you.
Yes.
Fuck yeah. Bitch. Get out my salon, bitch. Get out my chair.
I'm telling you, this is my house, which is why that first situation, when I was approached too closely, because I'm going to protect my client. That cape you're wearing is for your anonymity. I mean, that's to protect your body. It's a vulnerable place. Let's be real. We've talked about it being therapy. You're looking in a way that you wouldn't go outside. It's a big deal. So when I have a person, you have to trust me, or you're fucking throwing the whole thing off. So by the time I gain the confidence, I'm not going to have you insult my work when I'm done, because I don't need to hear that. I'm very smart and I know my job. Because I studied math and physics, actually, my whole job is math. My whole job is calculus on your head.
It's true.
So
it's true.
That's why my business is named Formulated.
Oh, wow.
Actually,
that's brilliant.
Right? Thank you very much. I came up with that less than a month sober. I had my business named. I had my cards in the mail. I made so much progress with my business and within my life. It took a very short amount of time to go out and do the things that I needed to do. And there's still more to be done. There's a lot more to be done.
There always is.
There always is. And if you stop learning, that's when you become a dumbass, in my opinion. You know what I mean?
You always learn, you always grow. Leah, your story is so inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is.
Thank you very much.
Well, that's cool. Well, guys,
thank you.
That's it today on Bite Me. I want to thank Leah for being here with us and for everything she's shared with us. Do you have anything that you want to plug, your TikTok, or what do you got going on in your life?
No, well, I do. I participate with TikTok and I do post on there. So you can follow me, One Does Want a Hint of Color. I got your attention enough to know that I work really hard. I'm very loving and giving, and I want people to see the fucking best in themselves and really give themselves a break. That's really the truth.
You're plugging is self-love. That's what you're plugging.
Yeah, that's really what you need. I mean, my TikTok is fun. I don't have a lot of followers. It's kind of nuts because I have followers who do like have a fuck ton of followers. You know, you're being one of them. So no, not really. Just keep being awesome and come check me out. And thank you so much for having me. It is a humongous compliment.
Well, that's beautiful. Thank you for being here. For more on mothers and addiction recovery, you guys can visit velourrecoverycenters.com. And for tips on being a mom in recovery, see the mountside.com Moms in Recovery blog. I'm the Truthful Groomer. You can check out my website. Linktree is in the bio. Always see me on Twitter and Insta, and we will see you guys next time.